Hi everybody, it's Olive, and today I would like to do my very first Top 5 Wednesday. This was a concept created by Lainey over at Ginger Reads Lainey. I will post a link to her channel down below. I will also post a link to the Goodreads group for the Top 5 Wednesdays. And essentially this is every single Wednesday you pick top 5 of a certain subject, dealing with books of course, because this is book 2, and then you give your top 5. So let's do it. This week's topic is books that made you think, which is kind of perfect for me since I'm more of a nonfiction reader, but I tried to keep it a little bit balanced between fiction and nonfiction. My first book is Sex at Dawn: The Prehistoric Origins of Modern Sexuality by Christopher Ryan. This is a book that discusses the evolution of modern human sexuality and also challenges the current notion that monogamy is a natural state for humans. It also certainly doesn't say that monogamy is an unachievable goal. It just simply challenges the fact that monogamy is a natural state for human beings. This was something that really made me reevaluate the way I've seen love, sex, and relationships throughout my life. Whether or not I agreed with everything they said is a whole other thing. It definitely made me reevaluate what I believe. I think that's the best way to be sure in your beliefs, is to constantly have them challenged, and this book definitely does it, so it had to be my number 1. Along those same lines, number 2 is, of course, The Beauty Myth by Naomi Wolf. I have been unable to shut up about this book as of late because after I read it, nothing in my life was the same. This book talks about the unrealistic beauty standards in this country and in this world that are oppressing women in multiple different ways. Talks about why they develop from a feminist standpoint. So yeah, this book definitely made me think a lot about the beauty standards and even the way that I perceive beauty. Another incredibly important nonfiction book that I read was Quiet: The Power of Introverts in a World That Can't Stop Talking by Susan Cain. All the good nonfiction books that I read definitely make you challenge what you already believe, as I've said with the past 2, and this one is no exception. This book talks about the extrovert ideal that specifically in America we have, in that it's so important when you go into a job interview that you are portraying yourself as an extrovert, someone who loves to be around people, someone who has a ton of energy, when really about half of our population are introverts. And that doesn't mean that an introvert is someone who's less social or who doesn't like to be around people. It just means that an introvert is more of a quiet type. An introvert is someone who needs a break after a lot of social interaction to recharge. An introvert is someone who is more introspective. An introvert is someone who is more okay with being alone with their own thoughts. An introvert is someone who's okay with delaying gratification. An introvert is someone who is more likely to really think through their problems. An introvert is going to be more of a planner. And so this book really talks about how in the workplace and in the world, we need both introverts and extroverts. Extroverts have their value, absolutely, but so do introverts. And if we were all extroverts, then some of the very important things that need to be done in this world just wouldn't get done. I consider myself an introvert. It took me a while to reach that realization and to not only be okay, but to be very happy that I am an introvert. And I think that this is something that both introverts and extroverts alike should read, because I think it's really problematic the way we think that everyone should have one specific personality type, when it really helps our world to have many different types. My last 2 in this list are going to be fiction. Number 4 would be The Unbearable Lightness of Being by Milan Kundera. This is a book set in Prague during the 1960s. This book follows a couple, a man and a woman, and shows pretty much the entirety of their life together and the challenges that they face. It seems to get very strong reactions from people, both positive and negative. Some people really don't like that it's very, very philosophical, and it seems like half of it is a novel and half of it are Kundera's musings on life. It's almost like the characters in this novel were representations of larger ideas of Kundera's. Overall, the writing was fantastic. The story was moving and heartbreaking in many different ways. I enjoyed it the whole way through, and it certainly kept me thinking the whole time. The last book that I'm going to talk about, number 5, is One Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich by Alexander Solzhenitsyn. I read this book for a Russian history class in college, and it was absolutely breathtaking. This book follows Ivan Denisovich in one day of his life in the Gulag, which was a Russian political prison camp during the Soviet period. Alexander Solzhenitsyn himself was a political prisoner in the Gulag, and so this was just a glimpse into some of the terror and hardship and repression that he faced during his time there. So you hear a lot in the news about political repression, or hear people complaining in this country, the United States, about free speech or political freedoms, and it really makes you think how good we have it to have all the freedoms that we do. We most of the time can feel free to express ourselves. We can feel free to be critical of our government and our society without fear of retribution. It makes me see how lucky we all are as booktubers to be able to come on a public platform like YouTube and talk about the books we love and our opinions and thoughts. So not only did this book make me think, but it makes me grateful every day. So on that lovely note, that wraps up my first Top 5 Wednesday with the books that make you think. These were 5 of my examples. I'd love to hear your 5 examples of books that make you think. Please feel free to share any thoughts down in the comment section below. You can also find me on both Instagram and Twitter at @abookolive. And if you'd like to be friends on Goodreads, the link to my profile is down below. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.